You're confused and you don't know where you're going, but in this video, I will tell you how you can fix it. Welcome to episode 1 of my new series called Get Unstuck. And the best way I can explain this series is through a story. The idea and the inspiration for this series came from my own personal experiences growing up. When I was in high school, I actually got diagnosed with a chronic illness, and it completely changed my life. It completely changed my entire world. I used to be a student athlete. I absolutely loved being in high school. It was my dream, and all of that got ripped away from me. I didn't know what to do. It was a completely different reality for me. The things that I used to do, the things that I was able to do, now I couldn't do without being in extraordinary pain. So I fell into this deep cycle, and it was really dark at that time. And I got to a point where I was trying to figure out what my life should look like. And specifically, I was looking in many different ways, but specifically that I'll be covering in this series was I was looking for, a future, a path for myself. And that was very difficult because I needed to find something that now aligned with what I was dealing with physically. Because now all of the hospital visits, all of the physical limitations, I needed to find a career that would align with that. And I needed to figure out how I could get to that career in a way that would allow me to progress even with the new symptoms and new sickness and the new limitations that I had. I felt extremely lost during this time, and I was trying so hard just to find an answer. And even though I was looking at hundreds of videos and just trying to get some guidance on what to do, where I could go, how I could still have a very amazing life while being sick, I oftentimes was misguided. I am a YouTuber myself, but I know for a fact on this platform there are a lot of people who pretend to have your best interests at heart, who pretend to come and try to help you, and really they're misguiding you. And I learned that from my experiences being sick and listening to these people's advice, listening to what they said to do, and it just ended up having me be misguided and have this false hope that ended up leading me to feeling even more lost and more discouraged than what I did when I even first began. Constantly falling in and out of hopelessness and false hope was a terrible cycle for me, and it honestly took a while for me to get past. Even to this day, I still struggle with being sick. Even to this day, I still struggle with falling into that extreme hopelessness still. And so if you can relate to this, then you probably are in the right spot. You may not be physically sick, you may not have certain ailments, and your story could look very different than mine. But if anything sounds similar, then I feel like this series will be of huge benefit for you. So without any further introduction, let's get into the first episode of this series. For the first episode, we are going to be talking about how you can figure out where you're going in your life. There's a huge benefit to it because if you don't know where you're going, you never know where you're truly going to end up. You will stay in this cycle of wandering, not knowing where you're going or where you really want to be at the end of the day. And so you can constantly be unhappy, and it's because you're seeking something that you don't even really know what it is. Going somewhere without a map. I heard someone say this, going somewhere without a map or going somewhere and driving without a GPS will always lead you to being lost. And unfortunately, what I will say is not knowing where you're going can lead you to be very susceptible to making really, really poor decisions. Because if you don't know where you're going, if you don't know the path that you're taking, not only do you not know the steps to take, you don't know what steps not to take. So you could be doing something and you could be on this road thinking that you're going down the right path, when in reality you're actually going down the wrong path, and it's leading you farther from where you truly want to be because you just don't know what to do and what not to do. Not only this, but you can have a lot of mental effects from not knowing where you're going. You can feel lost, hopeless, confused, and defeated. The lack of guidance and the lack of direction can lead you to being in the dark. And the thing is with being in the dark is that a lot of people are scared of the dark. Now, here's the thing. Being scared of the dark actually isn't a bad thing, the feelings that you're feeling, actually aren't necessarily bad, even though it doesn't feel good. The anxiety, the fear, the confusion, the stress, the hopelessness, a lot of this stuff means that you care to expand your life. It means that you care to live better, live differently, and even have a bigger impact. So throughout the rest of this series, even throughout the rest of this video, I want you to use those feelings to push yourself to actually go after this life, to push yourself to take the steps. Use that energy instead of using it as discouragement, even though it can be very difficult and it can be very easy to slip back into it. I'd rather you really pay attention to and attempt to focus on using those negative feelings in a way to fuel you towards better, instead of dwelling on it as much, instead of feeding it and allowing it to pull you down. It's a lot easier said than done, so don't get me wrong. I'm not saying this coming from a space of trying to make it sound like it is easy as pie, but it is something that I think is important to focus on, because I do want you to use your feelings, use your emotions, and use your energy to find the answers that you've always been looking for. Today you will be on a path of self-discovery, and for this section of the video, I highly recommend to have some notes, have a notepad, or pull up your notes app so that you can track your answers to these questions, because the goal of these questions is that you answer them first off honestly and truthfully. Be as messy as you need to be. Do not try to search for the perfect answer. This isn't getting graded. This isn't school. There's only one right answer. Say what your heart feels. Say what is on your mind and on your heart, truthfully, honestly, and as openly as you can, because that is what's going to help you the most in this situation. And secondly, the goal is for you to find these answers and then use it to find a fulfilling and meaningful start to your future. So let's get into these questions. Question 1 is going to be, what are your values? Now, before your mind switches off, please hear me out here. When it comes to what are your values, you might have heard this a lot, but when it comes to writing this down and really thinking about it, I don't want you to write what your friends' values are. I don't want you to write what your parents' values are. I don't want you to write what society tells you your values should or should not be. I want you to really take time to think about how you actually feel and what you truly feel your values are, because taking time to actually think about it, look at your actions, look at your heart, look at how you actually feel, think about what's actually important to you. You may realize that there are some things that you thought that you valued a ton and you don't, and there are some things that you thought that you barely valued and you actually value it a lot. And in this process, you can change your values as well. You can make a conscious decision to change what is important to you. Because if you find something, let's say truthfulness and honesty is something that you thought that you valued, but you're looking at your life, you're looking at how you feel, you look at how you talk to people, and you realize that's not something that you actually value. This can be something that you can change and that you can work on. And this can go for so many other things. You can and you will evolve, and you can and will change. And it is of benefit to make a purposeful, conscious change in your life and in your values. And this can help you to better align to where you actually want to be, the type of person who you actually want to be, how you actually want to act, and how you actually want to accomplish your goals. Question number 2 is, what impact do you want to have on who/what? You can have general impacts, but then you can also have very specific impacts, which I really encourage you to dig for. I really encourage you to think about and try to get as specific as you can. I'll give you an example. So my general goal, my general impact that I want to have is to encourage people with my channel. And I wrote this down so I say it right. But my specific impact that I want to have is to encourage people to think differently than they have before, and to unlock and allow themselves to step into the great plans that God has for them and use the gifts God gave them without being held back by the blockers and stepping stones we all put in place. So as you can see, those are very two different things. So you can write down both. I highly encourage you to have both a general and a very specific impact. And now on to question 3. What is something that you believe the people around you would benefit from? Now, this question can be interpreted in a lot of different ways. And I say that because you can use this question in so many ways to hone down on what you actually want to do in your life. It can be used as something that completely changes what you are thinking about as of right now when it comes to adding to your values, adding to your desires, adding to your motivations, adding to your impact. But then it's also something that can just be a small influencer, a big influencer. It can help you answer the past 2 questions if it's something that you're struggling with. And it is something that can really benefit you. So this question can really differ the answer from person to person, especially because we all have our different life experiences and we're all surrounded by different people. So make sure that you take the time to think about how you can apply this question to your journey. And finally, question number 4. What lifestyle do you want and what aspects of your future career are needed in order to fulfill that lifestyle? We already have so many questions and I want you to answer them again very deeply and very honestly. And this is a question that will help guide you when it comes to the career that you want, when it comes to how you want to earn an income, how you want to earn a living. And this can affect what type of job that you then decide to go for, because maybe your values are with one thing, but the lifestyle that you want doesn't align with the job that you were initially looking at in regards to your values. So maybe your values is something and you're like, okay, I want this job, but that job is a very low paying job. And once you look at the lifestyle that you want, high fashion, a very expensive lifestyle, then you're going to want to adjust that. You're going to want to think about that. And this can go for many things. Maybe the lifestyle that you want is a job that travels a lot. And maybe the job that you were initially looking at does not allow you to travel or vice versa. So make sure that you get, hone down specifics of what you want. Take your time going through these questions, as it is really used to hone down what you truly desire. It's used to hone down at least an overview, like a little sneak peek, a little, how do I put it? It's a word like overview, a general vision, a general idea of what you want. Utilize this information and even ask yourself your own personal set of questions. If there have been things that have come to your mind as we are going through this video, make sure that you write that down and ask yourself those things and ponder on it. Go outside of this video to get more information, to get more understanding. I highly recommend this book right here, actually. It's called Money on Your Mind by Vicki Renault. And it talks about money. It talks about your relationship with money and why that may be. So you can have certain experiences in life that has influenced you when in regards to money, and she goes over why that is. Now I will be making some videos about this book, but if you want to go read it yourself, I highly recommend it. But yes, back to the point. It is of benefit to go outside of this video and seek out more information, especially if you realize something very specific to you. Then I recommend going and looking and researching that very specific thing that you are feeling or you're experiencing or that you want to pursue. If you do have anything that you would like to say, if you have any comments, if you have any questions, if you have any thoughts, any realizations, and you do want to get it out though, and maybe let's say you don't have too many people that you can talk to, or let's say you just generally want to share it, feel free to leave that in the comments below because I will be responding. Now the video is not over yet though, because you do have homework. Yes, I know I said this wasn't school, but you do have homework. Before the next video of this series, I want you to take time to again think about the questions that were asked, think through them, think about the answers that you gave, even more so though. And I want you to do research on careers and jobs that align with what your desires are. You do not need to be very specific. You do not need to have a very clear-cut idea, but I do want you to have a general, broad vision of what you desire. And I want you to, at the very least, keep the ideas running in your mind. Think about it in the back of your mind throughout this week. Start creating a vision. Start thinking about it. Start noticing your habits. Start noticing what you value, what you're good at, what you love to do, and start building up those thoughts in the back of your mind, and just take note. No pressure on this section, okay? Everything is going to be a step-by-step process, and right now, all you have to do is create a broad idea. Thank you for watching this far in my video. I appreciate it so much. Oh my goodness, I just hit 74 subscribers. Thank you so much, you guys. And if you did enjoy and you want to keep up with this series, please consider subscribing. I just realized that my necklace has been backwards this entire time. That was probably really irritating somebody. In the next episode, we will be talking about creating goals when you feel like giving up. I will be going over the next steps with you, but I will also be talking about how to overcome some of the extreme emotions that can pop up, that can creep up on you while you're going through this process. If that's something that you would like to watch, again, please consider subscribing and sticking around for that video. If there is anything that I did talk about in this video though that you have thoughts on, or that you feel like I missed that was important for me to cover, please leave that in the comments below, as I want to improve my videos to best be for you. I truly want the best for you. Please, 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 please make sure to take care of yourself in every way that you can, because you are a gift on this earth. God put you here for a reason, because he loves you, and also other people love you too. You're here because there is a purpose, and I want you to fulfill that purpose for the betterment of you and everyone around you who deeply loves you. So please make sure to take care of yourself physically, mentally, and financially, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.